that's what makes me come to work every day, quite honestly, because I get fired up by these.
Yeah.
These people are enemies of airline pilots, yet they spend thousands of dollars targeting them on LinkedIn, targeting them through ads and such.
Welcome to a Wiser Retirement Podcast. Are you curious about why financial planning is different for pilots? I'm Grace Kennedy, and I'm joined today by Casey Smith, President of Wiser Wealth Management. Each week, we bring you practical advice on retirement investing and planning for your financial future. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. Let's get started.
There you go, Miss Host.
That was the third time I had to do that.
You guys have to understand that Grace and I have been working together for a little while now, and she has graduated to the point where I'm a little scared of her. She's like,
I'm now the host.
She's now the host, and she's the one that walks to the room going, "You have clients waiting. You need to get out there.
Right.
Let's go."
Yeah.
So accountability is always good, and Grace is a good team member.
Yes. Always
So
here
hey,
to keep
I'm
you
talking
in line.
too much. I'm not even the host. You're
I know, I'm
me.
the host.
So
the
go.
tables have turned. Last time I was here,
that's right.
I was the guest. That was a while ago. Lots changed since then. The host
Yes,
now.
Right.
Okay, so we're talking about financial planning tools for pilots, and who better to do that than you, the guy that was once a pilot turned into financial
Well,
planning.
you're always a pilot.
Oh, you are still a pilot, technically.
Yeah, technically.
Because you do still fly also.
Right.
Commercial airlines.
Yeah.
You don't.
I don't. No.
Yeah.
No,
So-
those days are past.
Right. Yeah. So what was that journey for you? Tell us about your airline pilot time turning into Mr. Finance.
Well, we've talked about this, I think, in podcast past, so I don't want to repeat myself. And this show's not about me. It's the people that that listen each week and to learn more, who are obviously a lot of my former pilot peers and new pilot friends. But my journey is mixed in with finance. So I went to Berry College from Georgia as a finance major. Always loved airplanes, and I got a job at the wrong place. I got a job at a big bad brokerage house, and it was not a pleasant experience for me. I was there for about a year. They had a no compete. I wanted to leave. An attorney told me, Georgia's a right to work state, just lay low for a year, then you'll probably be fine. And so I laid low for a year, and I took that opportunity to learn how to fly airplanes. And long story short, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. I loved my time in aviation. But I flew, through September 11th, financial crisis, all the major airlines are in bankruptcy.
Fun.
It was a great time to be at a regional airline. I was at Atlantic Southeast Airlines. It was guys in the majors were getting furloughed at the time. It wasn't the best, I think, for the industry, but it was a great time to be at a growing regional airline. So I moved up very fast in seniority and thought more about, hey, I love flying airplanes, but this is not a very stable environment financially. And so that's how Wiser Wealth Management was born. I bought this firm in 2007. I actually technically started my own firm in 2001. Not much really happened till about 2004. And then here we are, 15 people growing strong, adding a few more team members, hopefully in the next few months. And here we are.
Yeah. What
You're interviewing me now. So
I know. It's starting.
I kind of feel like you guys are putting me out the pasture.
Yeah, well, that's a journey for sure. I feel like the airlines weren't what they are now,
No, what you see in our financial plans now is a very different lifestyle and very different structure than what was happening in the early 2000s.
Agreed. Sure. Yeah. Because I've heard the story. So, I mean, you were in that world, all the different things as in income, career stability, all the different things that come with that. So what would you speak to that when it comes to, the pilots and when it comes to the career trajectory and the pensions and the 401ks, like what would you say?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of pain points there. You just said pensions, that those don't exist anymore. There is a lot of variable income, but the base income is a lot higher than it used to be. Yeah. So, there's that portion of it. There can be some career volatility. My heart hurts for those guys at Spirit, even a little bit Frontier right now, because in the same business model, this ultra low cost carrier business model is not really panning out. So you're looking at a situation now where Spirit may not exist,
right?
By the time it may not exist this post October 20th of 25. So may not last past the end of the year, or it could. You just don't know. Like, what do you do if you're there? These are the things that we work with people on all the time. I had a long conversation with a pilot over the weekend, and the whole premise was, I make a lot of money here at Frontier. What happens if I go to Delta?
Yeah.
And start over again.
Start over from the bottom. Yeah. That is
and I've done that math so many times. You give me an age, I can kind of tell you where the break even is. For him, I told him he would be fine, but he's going to lose his quality of life, because right now the money that he's making. It would take a long time to get back to that at Delta, because he does some training type stuff, so he's a little different. He's like a management pilot, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are the pain points. The guys that get hired in 2022 during the big shortage coming out of COVID, they're probably set.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in great situations. We talked to 24-year-olds getting hired at Delta at that time period. It's like, dude, you just hit the career lottery.
Yeah.
American United, same way. American's a little different breed. I feel like I don't talk to too many happy American pilots, but compensation's very similar. You're going to upgrade faster there. That's the whole thing, is like, how fast can you get in the left seat with a reasonable quality of life that you could be home with your family. Those are all things that are, I think, common pain points in a plan. And then that's the numbers. And then the reality is, okay, someone has to go do that. So you're not going to be a dad. You're not going to be home as a dad or mom for 15 days out of the month.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how does that affect family life? And,
I agree.
It's a good, it can be, being an airline pilot is the funnest job to be at a party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Very talked up. Yeah.
But to actually do it can be it can be very lonely at times.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And a lot of distractions, as airline pilots that maybe you wouldn't have in other fields, but yeah, it's and then you have to keep yourself healthy,
right.
You can lose your medical. These are all risks that come into the planning process.
Right. Yeah. So with all those considerations, I guess, like, what would be beneficial, having those specialized planning tools for pilots, just because they are such different from other professionals.
We can use the same software we use for anywhere else or anybody else. The difference is how it's how you put the data in.
Yeah, and execute it.
Mandatory retirement at 65. Right. But if they need to work longer, what does that look like? Right now, I'd say the average salary for someone after 65 flying private is probably around 150,000 a year. That's a big drop. You're probably going from 400 or 500, 600,000 to 150.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that, it's because you have to, because you didn't have enough saved for whatever reason. So knowing those numbers and building that into a plan, market-based cash balance plans.
Yeah.
That's something that most planners aren't going to understand.
Right. And how to calculate
and
it.
How to calculate it, and how to take our software, which is made for everybody, to tweak it to where it recognizes the pilot and the growth of the income, and it correctly would reflect in the market-based cash balance plan. Right now, Delta has it, American has it. I'm not sure what the status of United is right now with that, but yeah, those are like the tools that we'd need. I hear this probably a couple times a year. We had hired, the pilot's family says to me, we had hired someone else locally because we do so much of our work over Zoom, right? So Minneapolis, we have a lot of clients. Seattle, we have a lot of clients. Salt Lake City, we got a few in LA. So what we usually hear a couple times a year is, I hired a financial advisor locally. I heard about you, like what you listened to your podcast, but we decided we just wanted somebody more closer. And so I went in there and we told them that they put 18% of what I make into the 401k plan. They said, no, that's not right. You need to contact your HR department.
You're like, okay.
You're like, no, seriously. They put in 18%.
Yeah, they don't understand the benefits.
They're like, no, the 401ks don't work that way. That's not how that works.
Maybe here, but Delta.
We threw our hands up and decided to do a consultation with you because we got fed up with this person telling us, and we're like, no, this is how this works, or asking silly questions like, what route do you fly? Or,
I remember it was like, that was one of the first things you said. Cause I came in not knowing really anything and you're like, never ask what route you fly. And I was like, okay,
right.
Good to know. But yeah, I mean, that is true. I remember when Michaela and I were doing a lot of plans together, we of course had tons of pilots coming in and, just knowing the disability that they have through work and the pay structure. And it's just like, we just know that up front. And I remember we had a guy and he was like, that's so nice that you just knew that. Like, I didn't even have to tell you anything. Like, we just said it and it was already in the plan. Like, they didn't even give us the documents. And so they were like, that's such a benefit of, just understanding like the pilot.
I think it's probably been a year since we did it, but there was a day where we had Casey's aviation class.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't think I was here for that because I remember you talking about it, but
I took all the airplanes and I took like pictures of them. I was like, these are all the airplanes. These are all the pay scales. This is how people move from one plane to the other plane. And this is what a first officer does. And this is what a captain does. And this is, this is a day in the life of.
Right.
So just try to make it a little more real. Yeah. But there wasn't a whole lot of order to it. Unfortunately, it was just me spewing what was in my head.
And everybody's like, can we follow?
Everybody's like hanging on to their chairs going, I don't understand what's going on here.
Right.
But yeah, we probably need to formalize that, to have like, you have like wiser wings or something, like the wings of an owl,
We get it. Yeah. We've got our wiser wings now.
You passed the aviation test.
That is funny.
But yeah, it's certainly, all this stuff now.
Yeah. You listen into the conversations and you pick up.
Michaela, William, and Shauna, they all get this now.
Definitely.
And kudos to Shauna for like
coming in and being able to take over that.
Well, not only that, but she like did a deep dive into Roth versus IRA savings.
Right. Because that was such a big conversation.
And someone reposted it to one of the pilot pages.
Yeah. And it's like, boom.
People did not agree with our math. So we had to do a part 2. Mm-hmm. And the part 2 was like, okay, well, you're wrong. We do this for a living. But I will say the pilots that come here are just very nice. All the people that I'm used to talking to and hanging out with. But there is a group that knows more than the rest of us. And we all know who those guys are. And those guys will probably never show up here.
Right. Probably not. They can keep on trucking.
They're also the ones that are on the 4th wife.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have money anyway. So
we probably can't really help. Yeah.
Probably can't help them much anyway.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, you touched on different things like the irregular pay and things like that. But I guess my question would be, okay, if I had such like, because you can pick up trips and then all of a sudden you have way more money this month than you did last month. Like it's such a so how would you, save for an emergency fund? The rule of thumb is 6 months of expenses. And they're like, well, my expenses are all over the place because sometimes I have more money, this month than I do the other month and all these things. So like, how would you plan for something like that as a pilot?
Try to live on your guarantee. So if your guarantee is 76 or
base, right?
Every year one's slightly different, but if your guarantee 76 hours, credit hours a month, then live on that 76 hours.
Yeah.
The good news is if the kids are in college and you need some extra money or you really like that boat, but it's maybe a little outside your comfort zone, then man, for most aircraft in most cities, there's still, if you're senior enough, you can pick up that extra trip, which is like, 2x pay, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a narrow body pilot, domestically, you're going to get a few $1,000s out of that for sure. Which is, if you're going international, you can buy like a small car.
I know. Right.
So yeah,
we've seen people pay off their mortgages that way.
Yeah.
Like super
that's right.
quick. Yeah. It's such a benefit.
That's right.
To be able to do that. I remember seeing that for the first time and I was like, well, yeah, exactly. If they're like, if they're set on doing that, they can definitely do it by picking up some extra trips. So that's
and it's easy for us to say that.
Yeah.
But being have done it.
Yeah.
That means that you did a 3 or 4 day trip. You came home, you had maybe 24 hours rest and you went back out during your off stretch and you worked more. Then you came home for a day.
Yeah.
And then you went back to your normal trips after that. So that means you should have been home.
Yeah.
But you weren't home.
No.
You were out traveling.
Right.
you're out working.
Yeah.
You're gone.
Can't imagine.
You missed whatever activities were at home, right? That's the part. That's the part that people don't understand. If you're not in the aviation business, when you ask a client to go, hey, you need to pick up extras and do this. What are you really asking? That's what people don't understand.
And what are they giving up on the other side?
And they certainly don't understand the overtime system anyway.
Yeah.
But they definitely don't understand the lifestyle that it has, that you're giving up in order to do that.
Which you experienced some of that because you were coming here during the day.
Yeah, I was fortunate. And I was fortunate. I was your age. I was young.
Could kick back and do
I could fly all night, work all day, cut down a few trees, save a baby from drowning in the pool, and go back and rinse and repeat. Fine, right, be just fine. Probably took off some of my years of my life, but I did what they call stand up. So I flew. I went to the airport like at 8:00 at night for like a 10:00 departure or 9:00 departure. Probably left at 7 for a 9 departure. And then technically you're on duty all night, but we would get maybe I'd say 4 to 5 hours of sleep in a little airport hotel nearby, and then come back the next morning and then work the first flight back. That's how the airline stays on schedule, or one of the ways it can stay on schedule. So the bad news was usually once a year, there was something that would happen, usually weather related. I would actually physically be up all night. And I was never good at that. Yeah. Even as a kid, like the church lock-ins.
Yeah.
I was
like, I'm dead
at 1 o'clock. I'm like, this is the most miserable thing ever.
Yeah.
No. So I would have to pivot a little bit and rest, but you do that for 3 nights in a row and then you'd have 2 nights off. But yeah, that's how I built this company.
I was about to say, it allowed you to build what it is now. Yeah. So that's super beneficial.
Now I'll have you guys to be my
I know, right?
My energy.
We can, all the youngins in the firm.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So we're talking more about retirement planning tools for pilots. We have a lot of people come in. I feel like we'll have pilots come in and they have all of these ideas. They get so creative about like how to save retirement. Should I do this? Pre-tax, Roth, 401k, deferred comp, all the things.
I have a book idea. So I'm working on my first book now. It's in a draft format. Don't really mention aviation a whole lot. It's really about our financial planning steps. I'm doing it with Andrew and Shauna. Actually, I think this is the first time I publicly talked about it.
I agree, actually. I was like, I don't know if we've said anything about it.
I have the last chapter to go. And I have so many things that I want to put there, and I'm just trying to decide what it's going to be. But but I have a second book in mind following this one, and it's called Bad Decisions at 30,000 feet.
Yes. Yeah.
How pilots hurt themselves, talking, I don't know. But the joke here is that in aviation, a lot of times it's you're sitting there watching paint dry. I mean, it can be kind of boring sometimes. And then followed by weather events and mechanical events. The joke is it's 3 hours of sheer boredom followed by 20 seconds of sheer terror.
Yes.
Right?
The landing and the taking off. Right.
so that yes. So I get text messages all the time, and it's either 2 kinds. It's I flew with a guy, and this is what he said. He said I should start trading options.
Really? Oh.
He's made a lot of money at it,
yes.
or it's really cool pictures of, dude, check this out. I saw this today, which I really love those. I've gotten some really, really cool ones over the last few years from Derek Rogie, actually one of our Delta clients up in Minneapolis. He sent me some really cool pictures over the years. Shout out to Derek there. Appreciate the pictures. So it's I guess I want to be respectful of people. There are a lot of neat investment ideas that people come up with, but you have to take care of the basics first. And that's what a lot of people are missing.
Yeah. They skip that step.
Yeah. We got to get rid of credit card debt. We got to make sure we have emergency reserves saved up. We've got to make sure that we have our financial future on track,
right,
in a reasonable way, meaning it's really hard to beat the S&P 500 and everyone out there is selling a mousetrap that's still going to beat the S&P 500. And statistically, that just doesn't happen that way. I
Mhm.
mean, we watched the stats on this. Only 4% beat the S&P 500 over 10 years, 2% over 20 years. And yet we've got these big firms targeting pilots, trying to get them to move their 401k to a brokerage link.
Yeah.
Only to reinvest sometimes in the S&P 500. It's like you're literally paying 1% to invest what's free inside your 401k plan.
Yes.
I mean, it's not actually free. It's like 1 basis point. So 0.001 of 1%. That's what makes me come to work every day, quite honestly, because I get fired up by these people are enemies of airline pilots, yet they spend thousands of dollars targeting them on LinkedIn, targeting them through ads and such. And pilots were typically positive people thinking, yeah, there's got to be a way to beat the S&P 500, or maybe that's a negative thinker. that the simple way isn't right. So that's really important that we stay away from. We have to stay away from the mousetraps that are expensive, and and then beyond that, was we would call opportunity money.
Right.
And that's why people can be creative with money that they don't need for retirement, and you'd still use it for retirement. But that's the part we typically, I think we have to fight that a little bit.
Yeah.
We've had pilots tell us that they met with Northwestern Mutual people that want them to stop contributing to their 401k and invest 100% in the whole life insurance. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible idea.
Right.
We've had a few people talk about annuities. They should just buy an annuity. That doesn't make sense. Annuities, if you can do math and read the legalese, which we can, you'll understand that those are not good topics or not good products.
Right.
We have the people that call us about the options, about trading options. We have the Bitcoin people, which there is a place for Bitcoin. Just, I don't necessarily want you to do 30 to 40% of your investments inside in cryptocurrency. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm trying to think of other crazy things that have come up.
I mean, the
real
mega
estate
backdoor Roth too.
Oh,
If we're talking about within 401ks and stuff, which was a big topic for a while.
There's nothing wrong with a mega backdoor Roth. Just be clear. You sound really smart when you say it. The mega backdoor Roth.
Right.
Yeah, I'm doing the mega backdoor Roth. And people are like, what? What's the mega backdoor Roth? That sounds crazy.
He knows more than me.
It's like supersizing your 401k. It's insane. There's nothing wrong with that. But it could be your 401k is big enough that you're going to be just fine, and you should really be putting that money into a brokerage. Because even if you put it into the Roth, it's going to grow tax-free. That's great. But how do you buy that second home, especially at a 6-7% interest rate right now, or mortgage rate? What if you don't want the constraints of when you can pull that money out, having to wait the 5 years? What about direct indexing and tax loss harvesting, where you can create tax credits with that money?
Right.
Everyone goes, oh, we're going to have all these big capital gains. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Not if you're investing it in a tax efficient manner. You will eventually have some capital gains, but you're also going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in credits sitting there waiting on you to offset those gains if you need that money in the future. So there's a lot of different angles that pilots on a chat board or pilots flying across the country talking to each other are not going to fully understand. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what our job is. Our job is to guide that person to be,
and
to make the best
them
decision.
In the right direction, for sure.
Before we continue, do you want to make the most of your airline's 401k plan? We've created free 401k allocation guides for most major airlines to help you do just that. Download yours for free at pilotretirement.com. Now back to the episode.
Yeah, and I guess touching on, having those constraints whenever you are like fully doing the retirement accounts, like not just like a simple brokerage account. We do have people come in, pilots, I want to retire at 60, mandatory's at 65.
Yeah.
And it's like, should I just do it early, or does it benefit to like stay until 65 and just drop trips as I can? hopefully that you're senior. So I feel like that's a conversation we have. 9 times out of 10, we will be like, if you just drop trips until 65, you'll have the healthcare, because healthcare breaks a lot of people's plans, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit too if you're senior enough to do that. But that's a conversation that we have a lot too in planning.
Yeah, and you have to put yourself in the shoes of the person. Why is it they want to retire at 60?
Yeah.
Is it because family reasons? Is it because they're just tired and worn out?
Yeah.
Are you talking to a Spirit pilot? Are you talking to a Delta pilot or American pilot? Are you talking to a pilot who commutes to work or someone who lives in base? These are all very different things.
That,
If you imagine, okay, you drive to work every day. It takes you what, probably 30 minutes to get here?
20
minutes.
It's not even bad.
Not even bad. So imagine that in order to go to work, you're going to drive to Hartsfield. You're going to park your car. You're going to ride a crew bus. And you don't have to worry about security. You're going to go through security pretty quick. But then you're going to have to hope that you get on an airplane because you're on standby. So you've been monitoring how many seats haven't been sold, and you're going to ride to New York, JFK, in the winter, in the summer.
Yeah.
And then you're going to start your trip. When your trip might be gone, you might be gone for 4 days or 5 days.
Yeah.
And then you're going to come home and you're going to get off your trip. And instead of driving to your home, you're going to go down to your gate to Atlanta. You're going to look at how many seats are available. Can you get on this flight? Oh, but there's a cloud in Atlanta, so all the flights are backed up.
Yeah.
Now you have to wait to the last flight because you have these shift paying passengers forward, right? And then you get home, and then you have to ride on that bus back to the parking lot. You have to get in your car. It's now 1:00 in the morning, and you're going to drive home, and everybody in your family's already asleep. And you're exhausted.
Yeah.
Right. So if that person says, I'm done at 60, you go, let's try to make this work for them.
Yeah.
And maybe we can show them that, hey, at 60, if you're senior enough and you have the trips everybody wants, you can start dropping some of those trips. And maybe you only have to do that once a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe twice a month if you couldn't get the trip dropped. So that's the part that other firms aren't going to be able to have that dialogue and understand that. Have you actually walked in the foot? And this, with me, I don't do as much planning anymore. You guys are doing the planning, but you understand this.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you this for the first time. You understand the life of, right? You'll probably, when you walk through the airport, you see them walking around their uniforms, you feel a little differently about them, don't you?
Definitely. Yeah.
And what's happening. So, but ideally, it's, you want to go to 65 because that's when your retirement is compounding the most. That 18% is that they put in the 401k is being applied to the largest amount of money you've ever made, most likely.
Yeah.
And so you're leaving a lot of wealth behind, but sometimes people are just done.
Yeah. I mean, we just ran, that client the other day that was like, I think I'm done at 62. We were like, well, why? Ask all the questions.
Yeah.
Figure out if it's just family. And it was just like, I'm done. He had a very long commute.
Yeah. Well, his commutes from the Middle East.
Yeah. Probably the longest we've ever seen.
Right.
So you're like, understandable.
He's definitely tired when he shows up to work.
Yeah.
He'd have to be.
And he was completely capable. So, it just depends on the situation.
Yeah. To the young pilots listening, I would say, don't live beyond your paycheck, live beneath it. Stash away a lot of money now so you get that compounding effect going on. And if you're 60 and you're tired, then you have that opportunity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just building. After that, you're going to be building generational wealth, most likely, if you maintain your lifestyle properly. And
for sure, yeah, agreed. Touching on risk management, I know we talked about this just quickly earlier, but pilots are different when it comes to risk management because they actually need to pass their medical in order to be able to show up to work every day.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm sick, you're not gonna test me to figure all these stuff out. I can still show up to work. You
could do work.
Yes, I can still do work. So disability insurance for them is a lot. It's so valuable. And obviously those are through work half the time. But I mean,
yeah, the Airline Pilot Association, which is the union that represents most airlines. American is a little different. Southwest is a little different. They've done a good job of negotiating good disability insurance. At the regional level, it's almost non-existent. In fact, there's one regional airline right now. The older you are, the less they pay you, which makes no sense.
Right. Doesn't make sense.
It's a weak negotiation. They should be cleaning that up, I would think, but maybe not. They're not a strong regional. So yes, there's a couple of options. One is, can you live on 50% of your income? Because ultimately that's what you're going to get paid.
The payout. Yeah.
The second part is, if you can't, then you can buy in through like Harvey Watt, through Alpa. You can buy an additional policy, but it's not cheap.
No.
You could be looking as much as $800 a month to pay for the policy, but maybe that's worth it to you. And we've done that before. We've done that with pilots who say, my dad had this, my grandfather had this. Like, I feel like I'm just destined. And to me, it's worth paying that, because I don't have any hint of it right now, but it's not looking good hereditary wise. Right.
Exactly.
So that's a threat. You think about threat management as an airline pilot, that's very common in their training right now. It's like, what are the threats? How do we not cross an active runway? How do we make sure we're alert when we're moving? Right. So if we're listening to ATC instructions, don't end up on somebody's TikTok. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So in the financial realm, how we look at that is, okay, we know that we're set for retirement. We have these great jobs. We have these great contracts. What are things that can derail us? Obviously Spirit pilots are being derailed right now. So that's an emergency fund. How much of an emergency fund do I have set aside? Right. That's important. And then if I was disabled and my airline went out of business, that's a really bad thing. So maybe having additional insurance outside that would be beneficial, even life insurance.
Yep.
Obviously, I say this tongue in cheek, but death is a lot more clearer. You're here or you're not here.
Yeah.
It's when you're here and you can't work. Those are the problems to solve, because you probably have really big medical bills at the same time.
Yep.
So these are all things that you have to be willing to accept the risk, or you have to insure the gap. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And these are all things that we look at too. And it depends on client per client, how in depthly we go into that, but that's definitely, so we're jumping back into 401ks. I feel like we were just talking about this. But I mean, when it comes to investment ideas that we were already touching on earlier, all of the things, 9 times out of 10, we're handing out those 401k allocations, which I feel like everyone's like, how should I invest my 401k?
Yeah,
I
think
have those. Yeah.
Number one tip for every pilot out there: if you were paying a company to manage your 401k plan, you're being ripped off.
Yeah.
These companies are charging 1.5% to manage your 401k. They're taking what's inside the plan, they're moving it to the brokerage link only because that's the only way they can charge you, is if it's in the brokerage link. They can't charge you on the other side. These big 401k plans already have super low costs. You can be invested in the Delta Airlines, American, United Airlines, Southwest Airlines 401k plans, Alaska Airlines 401k plan for less than 0.006% per year in management fees. Not management fees, but fund fees.
Fund fees, yeah.
So I'm so passionate about this that we've built and we monitor allocations for all these airlines. There's more on the list, but you can go to wiserinvestor.com. You click on the pilot section, and we give you a free 401k allocation. We give you an analysis where you can determine what your risk tolerance is.
Yep.
Or you can just say, I want to be this one.
Yeah.
and yes. And so we're giving away free what other people are charging millions of dollars for. Because if you have a pilot who got hired in the Delta system in their early 30s and they worked until 65, they'd spend over $3 million in fees just being charged at 1%.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, that is crazy.
$3 million.
Yeah.
With the chance of beating the S&P 500 less than 2%.
Yeah.
Less than a 2% chance. It is about your allocation, but the allocation is very easy to solve. Our models online, you can download those. There's no bait and switch here. It is free. It's a free allocation. Apply that to your portfolio. You're going to have a diversified portfolio to weather all the storms.
Yeah.
So now how nasty tariff trade messes up the market or whatever, you're buying every single paycheck. Every time it goes down. If you're not retired, every time the market goes down, you get a paycheck. you're buying prices lower. Yep. So to win the game, you want to buy more because all these shares pay dividends. Mm-hmm. In order to get more dividends, you need to have more shares. Mm-hmm. In order to get more shares, you got to have either more money or the shares have to be cheaper.
Cheaper, right.
So every time the market's down, you're getting to buy more shares, no matter what the catalyst is, whether it be politics, whether it be economic news. More shares per dollar is good. Yes. Now, we don't want to have a continually declining market. We want to see prices go up, but you have to retrain your brain that that's a positive event for you as an employee of a firm who's putting money into the market. Yeah. It's all about planning. How much should you be saving? Are you saving too much? Where does extra money go? What about disability? What about life insurance? What about long-term care insurance, my old age?
Yeah.
What about, and we don't sell any of these products, by the way, we advise on all of them, but we don't sell any of them. But you think, and what about property casualty? You're a big time airline pilot. You have a bad day. You reach in the back to tell your child to
stop hitting each other, probably.
Or you're, God forbid, not doing this, but looking at your phone, you rear end somebody.
Yeah.
You're a big bad airline pilot. You better have some good property casualty insurance.
Yes.
And your property casualty insurance plus your umbrella better equal your net worth.
Yeah.
These are all things that we're looking at as we go through the planning process. So that's what they call comprehensive planning, which no one really seems to do.
No.
They want to take the pilot's money. They want to put it in a brokerage lane. They want to charge them a 1% fee. And for what?
Yeah.
You're not getting, there's no secret sauce in investing. There's no secret sauce. You're not giving you something or some special mix of investments that are going to do any better than what you already have in your account. Yep. So we spend a lot of our time in our planning session liquidating brokerage links, moving them back over to the regular 401k,
plan,
implementing the plan. We do manage assets. We manage assets for a lot of pilots outside their 401k plan, and their 401k plans are never charged an asset under management fee.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm on my soapbox now, as you can tell. But you just, people who are hiring these companies and manage assets are losing millions of dollars for no reason.
Yeah.
No reason.
I agree.
And most of them, when we meet them, they aren't, they haven't done any real financial planning. They did some maybe time value money calculations. So you're okay for retirement, but they didn't look at the whole thing. They didn't look at estate planning.
Nope.
They didn't break down their estate plan. They didn't do any tax planning.
Right. Which is so important we always have a pilot come in being like, how can I save on taxes?
How can I save on taxes?
Or what do I need to be doing to save on taxes later?
Yeah.
And your average.
You got 50-year-old guys putting all their money in Roth.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are you doing this?
You're
the break even for you is probably longer than your lifespan. So
exactly.
You should be pre-tax right now.
Yeah.
And we'll show you how to convert to Roth after you retire.
When your income's lower.
Yeah.
Exactly.
These are all things that should be common sense, but our financial services industry is not wired to do planning. They're wired to do transactions and to charge these assets under management fees.
And manage
Again,
accounts.
Nothing wrong with assets under management. When you hit retirement, I'm going to offer to manage the assets for you because I have a process with cash flow management these other firms still aren't doing that I feel like justifies my fee. And you also have more money typically in retirement, which means my fee is percentage wise, it's going to be much, much lower.
Yeah.
But for those pilots building wealth, you don't need an asset manager. You need a financial planner. And how we work on that is by charging a flat fee.
That's kind of what
I'm charging a few $1,000s to compare to what everybody else is charging millions of dollars for it. And they're failing at it.
Right. And then you have all the answers to succeed until up to retirement.
Right.
Wherever you're starting. Yeah. Cause we have people come in, like you said, like the 24-year-olds. We also have people coming in that are 55 and only have 10 years left. But either way, like exactly, we have the flat fee to help you be successful. Correct. Through those stages. But yeah.
Get it out of Allworth, get it out of Creative, get it out of all these big firms. You guys are losing millions of dollars. It's painful to watch.
Right.
Very painful to watch. And it's always so interesting to see where they come in from, because, the Northwest Mutual people coming in, they're always like, I need to buy all this insurance. It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And then the other people, their widget is, we're going to manage assets.
Yeah.
And so they come in and you're trying to save them from these big asset management fees. And then,
or expensive funds and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it's either one or the other. They come in with insurance or expensive funds.
Right.
If they've talked to someone in the past, but they're also coming to us because they're starting to catch on that, like, okay, something's not right. Either, I'm not growing, or why is the whole life policy not doing what I thought it was? I feel like we have a lot of that too. But
yeah, business owners and doctors get sold those whole life policies too,
for sure.
which is
we've seen a good bit of
which
that,
is hard.
Sadly.
It's sad to see that situation, but
Thankfully,
we can usually save them.
Yeah, I was about to say, thankfully we can save them, turn the situation around. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the tax planning side again goes back to not so much how can you save money in your paycheck today, but it's more how do you retire more tax efficiently. Occasionally we see pilot situations that they probably just need to do CPA. They're missing some things, but taxes have been very simplified since 2017 with the Tax Act. So it's really hard to find those extra deductions. If you have money outside of your 401k plan, like 700,000 plus, you can be, that money is supposed to be invested. You can do what they call direct indexing. Right. We can create a lot of tax credits that way. That will help you with down the road with capital gains as you liquidate investments or rental properties or things of that nature. But there's not a whole lot of meat on. There's one of our, they're not even competitors because they're in a different space. They're not financial planners or asset managers. But one of the lead generation tools they used, I noticed, was tax planning for pilots. I'm like, what exactly would they be talking about? Yeah. Right. And I was able to get a hold of the download, and I looked at it. There's no meat there. There was no secret sauce in there. Everything I saw in there, I was like, well, kudos for them for mentioning direct indexing, but the rest of it, everyone probably should know, max out your HSA. That's going to give you the most tax savings. Max out your 401k pre-tax. That will give you some tax savings. Hopefully you don't have any medical expenses, but those might add up for tax savings. Right. Other than that, I will mention Delta just launched their deferred comp plan. And I don't recommend that at all unless you're in your last 2 to 3 years of flying. Right. If the plan goes under, or if the airline goes under in bankruptcy, the plan would become a creditor of the airline. So you most likely would not get your money back. You'd be last in line. So some of the, but if you're in a couple year phase, you feel pretty confident about the industry and what's going on, for an A350, A330 pilot, that's a great opportunity to stash away up to half your income. Right. And lower those tax savings get those tax savings. But then you're gonna have to take it out over a few years after. So again, literally how we do is we just do the tax return. We're doing the tax return year by year to figure out what the model is. And again, I don't think the other firms are actually doing that. Yeah. I will say, I keep picking on the big guys in our space that are trying to manage assets. I will add that there's another firm that wants to convert everything to Roth, and you don't need to do that. We met with a man, that's probably been 8-9 months ago now, but he was trying to convert $3.2 million. He made $600,000 a year already. And this group, it's not even a group, it's one person who's a financial advisor. Yeah. Who says he's an airline pilot. Yeah. $3.2 million from your IRA to your Roth, or from in your 401k.
401k pre-tax
to Roth is like going to work and getting another job that paid 3.2 on top of the 600,000 he's already making. You're in the highest tax bracket. Yeah. There is no way that any airline pilot has enough in resources, unless they inherited it, to be in the 37% tax bracket for the rest of their life in retirement. Yeah. There's just not a chance that's not going to happen. Yeah. So in a normal pilot's life. So I don't know why he would have been told to do that.
To convert that. Yeah, I know.
But that was interesting. I did not do that meeting. I think it was Shauna. But it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
Exactly. Yeah.
But this is what these guys do and gals 30,000 feet. They come up with these crazy ideas.
Yeah.
I feel like when they land, they should have like a cap and gown.
They just graduated.
He just graduated, they had the master's in financial planning at 30,000 feet. So
have all these new ideas.
But I have so many stories. That's why I think it'd be fun to put those in a book.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a great idea. I'm sure people will be reading pilots and be like,
hey, wait,
did
that's
I
me.
fly with him? Was that my conversation?
Exactly.
That would be funny.
Exactly.
But yeah. Well, thank you for speaking your wisdom upon us on all things.
All things on the ground.
Yes,
on the ground.
exactly.
And
We're making our decisions on the ground.
No longer a commercial airline pilot, just a pilot of a little airplane now. But yeah, this is 25 years of our hard work.
Yeah.
To figure this stuff out and share it with others.
Yeah. Got it. Well, thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're interested in learning more about Wiser Wealth Management or want to schedule a consultation to meet with one of our fiduciary financial advisors, you can do so by going to wiserinvestor.com or by clicking the link in the episode notes. See you next week.